In the silence between galaxies, where light forgets to travel and time crawls instead of flies, an anomaly emerged. Not a tear in reality, but a conversation waiting to erupt across existence itself. It began, not with violence but with thought, tension crackling in the void long before fists would fly or beams would burn. The multiverse had always trembled beneath the weight of its gods. But in recent cycles, a singular instability had threatened to unmake the symmetry of order and chaos. Robert Reynolds, the Sentry, had evolved beyond Marvel's containment. No longer bound by his universe's moral frameworks, he stood outside of continuity, infused with the blinding aura of a billion exploding suns. Yet within him, beneath the divine glow, the void stirred. No longer a whispering alter ego, but a full-fledged cosmic identity. They were not two halves anymore. They were one. Light that craved order, shadow that demanded entropy. He drifted toward the source wall, seeking knowledge that could define his role in existence. Was he a savior or a mistake? In his mind echoed the screams of cities he had tried to save, but destroyed. The cries of lovers he could not protect. The warnings of heroes who both revered and feared him. "You are not a man. You are a god who has forgotten how to die," whispered the void. The source wall cracked, and in the crack, an eye opened. Far beyond the fourth world, beyond even the multiversal overstructure, stood Darkseid, not an avatar but the true form, the platonic ideal of tyranny. He was not merely a being, he was a law. He existed beyond time, beyond reason, beyond the fragile semantics of good and evil. Where Sentry wrestled with duality, Darkseid had no such confusion. He was singular, fixed, immutable. And that made him terrifying. When the ripple of Sentry's existential inquiry echoed beyond Marvel's realms, the lords of the New Genesis panicked. Metron consulted his Mobius chair. Orion grimaced. The multiverse had heard a frequency it was not meant to know. And so Darkseid answered, not with warships, not with legions, but with presence. He came. They met in the ruined corridor of dead universes, drifting near the bleed around them. Stars had already collapsed in reverence or fear. Sentry hovered with a grace that defied physics. His eyes burned with the light of fused atoms. His voice when he spoke was the sound of suppressed hurricanes. "Why do you persist, Darkseid? What is left for you to conquer?" Darkseid stood as a monument of gravitas, the space around him folding in reverence. His Omega symbol glowed faintly on his chest. His gaze, devoid of doubt, pierced beyond flesh into the DNA of thought itself. "There is nothing to conquer," he said. "There is only the inevitable me." Sentry's glow flickered, not from fear but from recognition. The void stirred with glee, hissing in Sentry's mind. He is not chaos. He is decay masquerading as permanence. "You see yourself as the end of all," Sentry said. "But endings are not answers. I was made to protect life, to rebuild, even if I must destroy first. I question myself, do not. That is why you will fail," Darkseid replied, his voice rippling through dimensions. "For in your questioning lies weakness. In your mercy, the seed of decay." Sentry clenched his fists. "You confuse stagnation for strength." Darkseid smiled, not a gesture of amusement, but an assertion of timeless truth. "You are potential wrapped in contradiction, a being of light who fears the dark inside. I am the death of contradiction, the stillness after all songs are sung. I am the anti-life equation." Behind his words, the anti-life equation pulsed like a second heartbeat in the cosmos. It was not merely math, it was truth. That hope is a lie, that freedom is suffering, and that will is slavery. That life in its purest form is meaningless when separated from control. And so their debate took the shape of the universe itself. Sentry, a god, seeking meaning through compassion and control of self. Darkseid, a god who had become meaning by extinguishing freedom. The cosmic stage trembled, not just from their power, but from their philosophy. If Sentry won, it would mean duality could be balanced, that light could carry its shadow without being consumed. But if Darkseid triumphed, it would mean that the multiverse itself bent not toward justice or freedom, but toward the gravity of inevitability. And so, in silence deeper than sound, they prepared. Because gods do not merely fight, they declare truth with fists. And only one truth would remain. It started with the sundering of gravity itself, as Sentry streaked toward Darkseid. Fists ignited with the force of stellar detonation. He moved faster than thought, faster than photon, his golden body smashing into Darkseid, like a judgment passed by a vengeful sun. The force obliterated the remains of a dead galaxy behind them. But Darkseid did not move. Instead, his body absorbed the blow, his armor cracking slightly as time inverted around his form. With a flex of his will, he bent the direction of causality, snapping Sentry's attack backward through a loop of false outcome. Sentry responded by splitting himself, channeling his molecular control to generate thousands of simultaneous sentries, each one a mirrored thought, each one detonating with singularity tier energy. They crashed into Darkseid, with the fury of a universe attempting to tear itself apart. And for a moment, Darkseid disappeared beneath the waves of photonic obliteration. But it was not enough. From the debris emerged omega beams, not heat, not light, but law rewritten. They curved impossibly, ignoring space, defying quantum law, and hunted down each copy of Sentry like righteous fingers of death. Each duplicate died screaming across multiple realities, one by one, until the original stood alone, panting, defiant. Sentry tore a hole in reality itself and hurled it like a blade. Darkseid absorbed the wound into his core. You are still bound by emotion. Darkseid intoned, that is your prison. Sentry unleashed no longer a hidden shadow. It emerged in full, a monstrous black tendril god, formed of forgotten nightmares and annihilated hope. It consumed color. It devoured vibration. Even antimatter withered before it. It struck Darkseid with unrelenting fury, warping everything around them into nihilistic collapse. Darkseid staggered, not from pain, but from the concept of opposition. You are strong, he said. The void roared. Sentry, glowing from within the dark, screamed, I am the balance. I am the wrath of gods turned towards salvation. Darkseid's eyes ignited, not just with omega energy, but with the full calculation of the anti-life equation. His voice resounded through the bones of all living things. You are not balance, you are denial. Denial of what? Sentry moved in for a final strike. Every cell in his body was focused on that one blow, a blow that could shatter dimension, end pantheons, a blow worthy of creation. Darkseid did not block. And in that moment, Sentry paused, not physically, but spiritually. He hesitated. He doubted. The void howled in rebellion, trying to resist the pull, but the words crept in. You are alone. You fear yourself. You will obey. Sentry's light dimmed. Darkseid stepped forward. His palm rested on Sentry's chest. You are a candle in a sea of entropy. Then unleashed the full force of Omega Sanction. Sentry exploded, not in gore but in concept. His form shattered through timelines. His mind scattered across possibilities where he was never born, where he was evil, where he was nothing. He lived 10,000 lifetimes in agony, each more meaningless than the last. He forgot himself. He forgot light. And then only the void remained, silent, shapeless. Darkseid stood alone. Above him stars returned, not in celebration, but in submission. There was no applause. There was no joy. There was only silence. For Darkseid is, and all things must eventually understand him, even gods, even Sentry, even hope.